Hi guys, welcome back. Well, this is a really interesting day for me at Food Diaries because on this particular episode, we have here with us a person who has managed to make a name for himself in the world of fashion, not only in Shillong but in the country, representing our country with his fashionable ideas on stage. Without further ado, this is Daniel's aim. So Daniel, welcome to Food Diaries. I'm really intrigued and I'm really happy to have you on board Food Diaries. Well, you are a fashion designer. That's been your first love and your passion that you've been following up through the years. But what about cooking? I've been seeing your statuses. What got you into that?
I don't know exactly how I got into cooking, and
Right.
I've always been a foodie all my life. But I think ever since I moved out and stayed on my own, then I had no choice but to learn how to cook, because I'm also into fitness, so I normally don't like to eat food from outside, so I'm very particular about what I eat.
Right.
So I guess that's how I started, and it just rolled into a passion which I love doing.
Being a fitness conscious freak, if I might say, you follow up on your fitness regime, and because of that, it's got you into cooking your own food. And what food that I have been seeing so far has been really yummylicious, if I should say. So without further ado, tell us, what is it that you would want our audience to see you cooking today?
Well, to be honest, this is my first time doing this. I've never been featured on a cooking show before, so I'm just I've come up with a very simple dish. It's actually a chicken recipe which I learned from my mother. So it's a chicken curd-based chicken recipe which I'm going to do. So yeah, so don't expect much. It's pretty simple, but it's healthy too, so that's why I love it.
Right. So some healthy but nonetheless very delicious chicken which has been passed down from your grandmother?
No, my mother.
Your mother.
Yeah.
So we'll see some homemade chicken dish today, and do join us as Daniel takes us through this beautiful journey of his chicken dish. And now we have here in front of us the ingredients that Daniel has set up for the chicken dish, a recipe passed down by his mom. Yes? So Daniel, what do you have here for the dish?
Okay, first we have the chicken here.
All right.
The fresh chicken which I've chopped into pieces.
Okay.
And then onions.
Right.
And then I've got my tomatoes here.
Right.
Ginger garlic paste, some oil. And then I've got some spices here. Some bay leaves, red chilies, and then some cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon, and some potatoes there, and the curd, which is an important part of the ingredient, and then a bit of crushed cashew nuts, and also like some celery here, which I use for garnishing.
Alright, I am comfortably seated here on the stool while Daniel will showcase his culinary skill to us here today. Right, Dan? So let's get started.
Let's get started. Put it on medium flame.
Medium flame, right?
Yeah, just let it heat up for a while, and then put on the oil. So I'm just using refined oil.
Okay.
Refined oil.
Right.
Normally I use olive oil sometimes, and so this is just refined oil. And also when I cook, I normally don't like to add too much of oil, so I keep it like
keeping in mind, your health consciousness, which is I think a really nice thing.
Yeah, so that's
our Indian way of cooking. I think it's all too much oil based. The oil floats on the dish. But I think even our being conscious, being health conscious nowadays, people do prefer to use just a little tinge of oil, right?
So in the meantime, I'm just gonna take some bay leaves, about 2 bay leaves, and just slightly burn them so that you get the aroma. You get the aroma of the bay leaves. And a few dry red chilies.
So this has been what you've been into during the lockdown, should I say?
Cooking?
Heavily into cooking?
Yeah. I mean, I've come up with so many recipes, but again, like these are all shared recipes from my mother, from my sister, from my friends.
That's the beautiful thing about our cooking. We have recipes being passed down from generation to generation. We do improvise on them though, right? Sometimes?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
create our own twists based on our maybe our taste or our...
I always feel it's not fun if you don't experiment when you cook.
Right.
So it's always like to try new ingredients. And so I've already added the bay leaves and the dry red chilies. Now I'm just gonna put in a few cloves. I'll put in some cardamom first.
So that's the green cardamom?
And a bit of cinnamon. So I've just sliced the onions.
Okay.
Put them in.
So this is something really interesting. We've already heard about Daniel saying, he's created a brand of his own in terms of fashion, and something very unique about. Do tell us, Daniel, what is the uniqueness about your sense of fashion? Why is it unique? It's been talked about, around the world,
See, the thing is, I think what like the Daniel Syiem brand is famous for is that we work with local fabrics from the northeast and in particular from Meghalaya.
Right.
So we've been working with our weavers from Dibhoi district, working with this fabric which is called India, our local indigenous fabric.
Yeah.
And so basically that was my story. I mean, I wanted to use this fabric as a medium to actually tell a story of who we are as a people, to actually, and also help the weaving community. Because I think before we started, not much was done to actually promote India and to promote the weavers of Dibhoi district.
Exactly.
It was a dying art. So when I was introduced to it, that was my dream. I wanted to take this fabric, which is not just a piece of fabric, but it's something which...
These reflect our heritage
exactly,
also, and
also
converted that into something modern.
And also I talk about how it's also stories which are interwoven into this fabric, stories of all these women who work so hard to sustain their livelihood, to take care of the families, the children. So it's all about that. So I started the fashion house with my friend Janice, who's now the business head of the fashion house.
Okay.
So both of us started the fashion house about 12 years ago.
Right.
And over the years we've been showcasing our collections using this fabric throughout the world.
Okay.
We've showcased at Lakme Fashion Week and London, New York, Toronto and Japan and a lot of places. And there's been a huge appreciation, more than, I would say, more than my designs, there's a lot of appreciation about the fabric because it's organic and
it's like the fabric has gotten its due respect, if I may say, the Rindia, which has been there, and if not for that, it would have been just another fabric being used by the elderly, But thanks to Daniel and his vision on taking this fabric and using it, curating it into something modern for the world to see and being appreciated. So I think for that, Daniel, you've done a really wonderful job, and we do hope that your fashion house will also have a platform of its own, as it's been doing, and succeed more. Right?
Let's get back to the cooking.
I've been into that.
Okay, my onions are almost getting burnt. So the thing is, with this recipe, I don't use turmeric or red chili powder to
I
add
noticed
color
there's
to
no
the
turmeric, right?
So to add a bit of color to the chicken, I allow the chicken to be even more slightly brown than I would normally do in my other recipes. So I think now they're nice and brown, and I'm just going to add a bit of ginger garlic paste.
Because I think most 70 to 80% of the dishes that we have are all turmeric based. We do eat turmeric, so this is a good change.
Also, I normally add a bit of sugar just to
Interesting.
not to add to the flavor, but just to kind of slightly glaze the onions, so you get a nice golden brown.
Right. So there it goes in. There's no turmeric. There's these are spices, cardamoms and cloves, with bay leaves, with dried red chilies and onions, and ginger garlic paste, of course. And we've just seen Daniel adding some sugar to caramelize the onions, right?
Yes. So now, Abba, I think the onions are nice and
wow, look at that! It's nice and beautifully caramelized, and never really experimented adding sugar to caramelize the onions. So, Daniel, you have you know, a very innovative mind, if I should say.
Yeah, well, that came along with my mother's recipe.
Oh,
so it was,
okay. So kudos to your mom for handling down these tips.
Right.
All
So
right.
to this, I'm just going to add some chopped tomatoes. And I just make sure that I stir the tomatoes nicely because the onions are almost like, I won't say burned, but really well fried. So just making sure that the onions don't get like burned like too. So just keep stirring the tomatoes.
So if I do ask you, what would be a favorite dish that you know, which reminds you of your mom's cooking?
My mom's cooking? I would say this would be one of them.
All right.
I don't know, I don't have like one particular dish. I mean, I love all the dishes. As I mentioned, because I stay here on my own, I live here on my own with my brother. So sometimes when I get tired of my own cooking, I always normally like to go home for lunch, you know, have lunch with the family. So, you know, there's always a nice experience there. And Novara, I don't know, like my friends say like they love my cooking, but for me it's like my mother's cooking is my mother's cooking, you know. So even if I'm making the same thing, I mean, this chicken which I'm making today, I'm sure my mother's will be better. So.
Right.
And I think even in today's, like for me, when it comes to my work as a designer, I always like to talk about how important it is to stay fit, to eat right. You know, these are things which are important to help your entire well-being.
Right.
So I think these are the three things that go hand in hand, like, you know.
I mean, you need to dress yourself and you also need to dress your stomach.
Exactly, but you also need, more than just looking good on the outside, you need to feel good inside. You need to be healthy.
Exactly.
And, you know,
So you have a point
really important.
there, no? Yes. Looking good is fine, but also feeling good inside.
Yeah. Alright, I think the tomato is almost done. Okay.
So what would be the first time you ever tried making a dish? I would like to know.
I don't know, I think I was years ago when I was living in Delhi. So the only thing I would make is like scrambled eggs.
Okay.
And we have put in like a lot of vegetables in.
Right.
I think that I was surviving on that for like for so long.
So you've come a long way from making scrambled eggs to you know, getting recipes from your mom. That's like a big part of the shoulder, right?
Yep. Alright, so that's done. I'm gonna put in the chicken now. So I have about a kilo of chicken here. And
this is one time where I'm like taking the backstage. That's why I'm behind Daniel for this. He is like at the forefront of his cooking, so I don't want to you know, stand there and be a distraction to his concentration for this lovely dish.
let it just heat up for a while. So most times when I make chicken, I like the juices from the chicken to really come out and you know, mix with the ingredients. Okay, I'm just gonna put in the salt now.
Okay.
So when I cook, I normally like to use you know, what they call the spring salt.
Right.
You know, it's healthier and I have this habit of not adding too much of salt in the beginning, because then, if you add too much, it's difficult to.
Better be safe than sorry, because a dish that turns salty, you find it really hard to correct the dish, right?
Exactly. So just let the the chicken cook for a while, and then I put in the potatoes. Also then blend into the ingredients, and then add the yogurt, and that's it.
Okay.
So I've let the chicken cook for about 5 minutes, 5 to I think 7 minutes, and you can see here all the juices from the chicken come out. And it's mixed really well with the onions and the tomatoes. And there's a nice thick gravy that's come out. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put in the potatoes. I always like to put the potatoes also with the, when the chicken is almost nicely, not too well cooked, because then the potatoes will take time also to soften.
Right.
I'm just going to nicely mix the potatoes with the chicken and the gravy. I also like it, when you cook the potatoes, when you bite the potato, you get the flavor of the entire dish. So
yeah. Because I think this is one vegetable that absorbs,
exactly.
Whatever you put it in, whether you make a veg recipe or protein like chicken, it always absorbs the spices, and you get this beautiful aroma wherever it's been cooked in.
So I'm just gonna let it cook for another 3 to 4 minutes.
So in the meantime, what was your last escapade with your work or anything you've been doing?
Well, not much has been happening because of the lockdown.
Right.
But before that, I just recently opened my new studio, which is also my production unit.
Okay.
That's also a place where we give training to a lot of the young upcoming designers from
Oh,
Shillong
that's
and from
wonderful.
Meghalaya. We give them training for 2 to 3 months, and then based on the performances, then we also employ them. So, and also recently launched my new label, which is a Pret label.
Right.
And which is different from the other work that I do.
Okay.
So because originally the Syiem label was focused on indigenous fabrics, but
Right.
the label works with other fabrics like cottons and
Okay.
linen.
Right.
So we had also just launched that about a couple of few months before the lockdown, and I had a few shows coming up in Delhi, and then I was supposed to travel to France for a project that the government was working on.
Right.
It's called a Ramy Project,
Okay.
and this also the Ramy is also another kind of fabric. It's a different fiber.
Really?
Which is
Okay.
which the state government had taken up, and also
Ramy?
tied up. Yeah.
Right.
So this was also a project which was tied up with another very famous designer. His name is Himan Sagar. They have a brand label called Himan Likone, which is an international brand. So I was collaborating with them on this project, and we were supposed to have this exhibition in France, which also got postponed.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so
So you have your plate is always full, and there's always work in terms of taking it forward in different ways, which is very interesting.
So anyways, I think it's almost
Okay, let's get back to the...
And so if you look at the color of the chicken and the gravy,
Right.
so it's a nice caramelized brown. But in a way, I also add a lot of turmeric to my dishes, because turmeric has such great medicinal values.
Right. No, so not that we don't, but there are a few dishes that
Exactly.
you would like to do away with that. You get a different flavor altogether.
So I'm just gonna add the curd,
Okay.
and and obviously make sure it's plain curd. You don't want your chicken to be all sweet. About 7 to 8 tablespoons of curd.
Okay. So with the chicken almost done and the potatoes also being done in the pan, and what you see Daniel doing is adding some about 6-7 tablespoons of
about
curd?
7 to 8.
Okay, 7 to 8 tablespoons of curd and plain curd, mind you.
There's also another way of doing this if you want to make the same recipe. So
Right.
you can actually like marinate the chicken in the curd in the beginning so that the chicken cooks faster.
Yeah. So it's cooking at the end of the day, you know, it's how you want it done.
Exactly,
You know, there's no fixed way of doing the same dish, right?
Alright. So we let that cook for a while. And most times I like to slow cook my food. So it's always on a very, not very, but you know, like a medium kind of a flame.
Yeah. You get the smell, your aroma is like flying all around the room.
Coming out.
Yeah, beautiful aroma.
So you can actually have this this chicken with rice. Normally I don't eat rice, so I like it with, you know, with bread or even with chapatis. Yeah, so I think it's done. I'm just gonna turn off the flame. And I think we're good to go.
Alright.
Just need to put in a few
The moment of
garnishes.
truth.
Yeah, so
Wow. This is absolutely lip-smacking aroma that is like going down to my taste buds are already dancing without me tasting the food. This is how good it looks. Very appealing. The aroma is absolutely. Now you want to.
yeah, so I'm just gonna add
garnishing?
some crushed cashew nuts.
Okay.
So for the same recipe. So if, like I mentioned earlier, if you marinate the chicken in advance with the curd, you can also add like paste out of cashew nut.
Okay.
So it gives it a slightly different flavor.
So there are different twists to which you can always improvise on the dish or reinvent a dish.
Yeah.
And is that done?
Yeah,
so do we need to get some greens or?
I think we'll do that before eating. So.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done, and I'm just gonna serve you a few pieces
And I have been waiting.
just to sample my cooking, my amateurish culinary skills.
I will not call it that. From what I've seen, I think you have another talent, if I may say, which you normally do not reveal, but today we get to see.
So normally I just like to add a few greens. So just gonna add a bit of celery. Okay, like they said, bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Alright. This is it's so awesome. The aroma is absolutely so inviting. Okay. Bon appetit. Daniel. We'll get a little bit of the cashew. I have no words other than to extend my hand and thank you. I have to do that because other times I appreciated your other aesthetic sense when it comes to clothing. But today this is an altogether new Daniel that I get to see. And this dish is absolutely awesome. I can't believe it. It's so simple, but the taste is so bang on. Nothing much added, just basic few spices. It's in the way it's being prepared, and I think it comes from a heart of love. That is what speaks more.
Yeah, if I can say something, I think cooking is all about putting your soul in.
Right.
That's why I love soul food.
Yeah.
I think you put in love for
exactly.
that.
So this is what we call soul food. The people who make dishes for the sake of cooking.
Exactly.
But this is like there's a lot of love and soul put into it. So as you rightly said, this is what I call soul food. And so Daniel, thank you once again for being with us at Food Diaries. I'm sure the audience have been having a really good time seeing Daniel's aim in action in his kitchen. And we do hope that you join us back for a few other episodes and all your culinary skill into play again for us.
I would love to do that. Thank you for having me.
And I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in today. I'm sure you've had a really wonderful time seeing Daniel here with his culinary expertise. I'm sure most of you do not know that, but with Food Diaries, this has also come into the forefront. And till next time that we meet again from Food Diaries, it's Abha. We shall sign off. Till the next time that we meet. Bye-bye.